All right, welcome back, everyone. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. Now, today I have kind of a special band or a guest, two guests from a band. You may recognize one of these guys, though, or you may think you recognize one of these guys. This is pretty astonishing. Most people are going to think I've got Ozzy on the show, and I couldn't get Ozzy because Ozzy has not been feeling well as of late. In fact, he canceled his tour, but I think we've got somebody who's very similar. Say hello to Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing just fine, man. How you doing out there in Florida with the Gators and all that shit, man?
We do. It was one of my backyard last week, so that's appropriate. So we have Kevin and Brent from this band here. And I was telling these guys that I went out and purchased a copy of this because the glare is pretty excessive here, and I apologize. This is Book of Numbers. The album's called Magic, and it's really amazing. You guys put this out like a year and a half ago. I just found that out now, and it's kind of depressing that it's been out that long. And I just heard about it. This is Ozzy, Dio, Black Sabbath, a little bit of Rainbow in there. How did you guys decide to do original material? I believe there's one Sabbath cover on here, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Yeah, we did Children of the Sea back off the Heaven and Hell album. It was my favorite tune. It's hard to pick one favorite song of Dio and Sabbath, but that's my favorite Dio song with Tony Iommi. And he's a huge Tony Iommi and Dio fan. And so the way that we got together is we were doing the Heaven and Hell album from front to back and the Mob Rules album front to back. We were going to go out and perform it, kind of like, even though I look like Oz, I sing a lot different with my natural voice, so which is more Dio-esque or Bruce Dickinson and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we just clicked, Brent and I, and we decided, hey, he mentioned let's do some originals, and you're holding on to the first, freshman album of Book of Numbers.
Yeah, and it's really impressive. You know what I love about this, guys? One of the reasons I kind of grabbed onto this and I started listening to it was I can hear everything. This is like the old days, it's not all this compression and noise. I can hear these great guitar licks. The vocals are crisp, they're clean. The drumming is big, but it's not just dominating the whole song. I mean, you guys really went back to like an old school recording sound that people like me, geezers like me, really appreciate. Not Geezer Butler, but
Geezer Butler.
you can do that the entire video because I'm not all that entertaining. But anyway, I really enjoy the production on the album, and I'm thinking to myself, if we could just go back in time a little bit, and I was the GM of the radio station, the manager like I was at one time, I'd say, hey, we're playing Book of Numbers. We're putting this on. And the phones, remember when you had the phones, like the landlines, and the lights would light up and pick up the phone and, hey, what was that? What did you guys just play? And I could say it's Book of Numbers. So, I miss those days. And I'm really impressed with this, guys. You did a great job.
Thanks. Yeah, it was recorded by real musicians, just four human beings, like no editing, no auto tune on the vocals, no samples on the drums, all live. Kevin did most of the album vocally in one take, sang the song one time, all the way through, just like the old days. Me, the same thing on guitar. I play it all live. And it was produced by a guy named David Thoner, who did his first record was Rainbow Rising. And when he was in the middle of mixing the record, he said, this reminds me a lot of this record I did with Richie Blackmore's Rainbow called Rainbow Rising. And I said, as if I didn't know who that was. And I said, oh yeah, I think I've heard that one. Because that was like when I was growing up, I thought that was the best record I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I thought
Rainbow. So you guys are just total fans of this.
Total fans of old school metal, man. Late 70s, early 80s, Judas Priest, Ozzy, Sabbath, Rainbow, Ozzy with Randy Rhoads on guitar.
Yeah.
For us, that was kind of like, we just looked at it and we thought nobody's doing that right now. Everybody's doing, the
Nope.
Cookie Monster voice vocals and, like,
Have you guys ever watched my channel before? So you've never seen my channel. I use that expression and it's probably borrowed. I had another expression, but I've said a number of times that everybody sounds like Cookie Monster. You turn on your active, what we call active mainstream rock station today. And because I'm a former radio guy, I listen to it and I go, remember in the old days where you could have like different styles on the radio? You could have like a bluesy thing, you could have a more pop thing, you could have a hard rock metal thing, and and everybody's just happy, And now it's like dun dun dun. It's one sound, and it's
and I can't distinguish one from the next. So we appreciate the comments. We're well known in Europe. We've been in all the top magazines in Europe: Def Forever, Rock Hard. Very positive reviews. We've been on the radio in Europe, but
Portugal.
Nobody knows who we are here in the States, unfortunately.
Brazil.
So any help you can do, you got any contacts left, the radio station, please pick up the landline if they still exist.
yeah.
The thing about that is here we were on Rock Hard magazine with one of my mentors right here, Ronnie Dio. The man he knew my name. I've met him several times at his different concerts, and I'd try and muscle my way up to the wherever he was, and he would know my name first and last. I felt pretty special. But we're in Rock Hard. We're in this magazine out of Europe. It's the biggest, I guess, heavy metal magazine in Europe. We were released in Germany, and we were distributed all over the world. And it's amazing to hear some of the reviews we've gotten, but it just seems like America's a little behind in the heavy metal. And if I would like to see it, and I'm hearing that the Generation Z is bringing it back, that they're like listening to their granddad's Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath and stuff. And I really dig hearing that. So hopefully there's more long-haired kids out there, and hell, grow your mullet. I don't give a shit. Let's go back to the good old days, because the 70s brought a lot of melody and harmony and a lot of really cool music. And then so did the 80s. And then, we all know what grunge did, and we all know where we're at today. So let's bring it back. Let's bring back really good music. And that's what we're kind of hoping to do with Book of Numbers.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys try to release a single off of this anywhere, like here or in Europe?
Well, our deal is really just Europe. That's the deal. It's distribution for Europe, but she was able to kind of corner the market. Like, she's got the option to do America, but never did anything in America. No press, no distribution, no promotion, no anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is Pride and Joy Music, which they're kind of real stealthy as a record label. They're not as up there as some of the other labels when they put out material for whatever reason. And I think you're right. It does seem that there's a real market for this overseas in Europe and even in places like Japan. I hear about, these bands through, like I said, doing these random searches and then finding the music. And people ask me, well, where'd you find that? I said, it wasn't exactly easy. I mean, I don't remember where this shipped from. I actually reached out to the record label and they said they were out of them. They had no more of them. So I think either did an eBay thing. I forget what I did, but I was like, wow, I got it. And I knew you guys were coming on, so it was good timing. I had the album and I was able to talk to you guys. So tell me about this Ozzy tribute, this band called I Don't Know. It's perfect for somebody who's forgetful and who one of the great Ozzy songs of all time, though, I gotta say.
Thanks, man. Did you ever get a chance to go to that website, or it's theozzyexperience.com, and you could just go to theozzyexperience.com. We've got our great, video up there that we just released. We're an experience. I know a lot of people, and when they started this back in the day, call it a tribute. Yeah, and I can appreciate that, because I'll give tribute to the gods of heavy metal any day of the week. But I like to consider our Ozzy band an experience, because when you come, and I hear this from the fans after my shows, it's like we bring them back to the time when they remember Ozzy, when they either first saw him or you know, it brings back memories of either a good time or, you know, a crazy time in the 80s, 70s with Sabbath. I've had so many walks of life come up to me and just tell me how cool it was to relive. And so we're an experience. We also have Sharon Osbourne come out, and she's a doppelganger. My wife plays Sharon Osbourne.
No.
She's a doppelganger. She looks like an Osbourne, and especially Sharon. But then she does a costume change, comes back out, and she actually does the duet as Lita Ford. We call her Angelita Ford. Her name's Angela, and she wears the one-piece leather outfit with the Black Widow, and we do Close My Eyes Forever. And so there's all sorts of Osbourne antics with Sharon. There's the Lita Ford tune. This guy, he's note per note. I mean, Book of Numbers is off the hook. He writes all the music. I write the melodies, the harmonies, and the lyrics. But let me tell you, when he steps into Tony Iommi's or Randy Rhoads' shoes, he shreds it, and it's note per note. And if he decides to do something without the originals, it's better than the original. I mean, I'm telling you, the guy sets the bar. And so we've been doing this. Sorry, that was Rock, and his
Rock.
name is Roll.
Man, you guys, you're living the lifestyle. That's all I gotta say. Brent, where did you learn to play guitar like that?
In my bedroom.
Yeah, you're self-taught.
When I started when I was 11.
You're like Eddie Van Halen, just self-taught. Don't need lessons.
I was.
That's
Didn't know how to read music. I played by ear. I later learned how to read music so that I get a job as a guitar teacher. But I didn't when I started. I got the job and didn't know how to read music. And then I just kind of learned on the fly on the job. So I now know how to read music to an extent. But I didn't start off that way. I just played by ear, and I just do it all. I did it all the time when I was 11. I do it all the time now. I love it.
That's awesome. Hey, so if a fan comes up to you, Kevin, and they want you to do like your best Ozzy, like what do you say to them?
I fucking love you, man.
Any other words of encouragement?
No, I was going to say something, but I've forgotten what I was going to say. But I mean, you know, I've been doing this a long fucking time, you know, and I've said so many fucking things, but I mean, I've forgotten most of it, and I don't know.
So you're doing like an Ozzy from right now, which is even more impressive. I mean, now as far as the antics, like the onstage antics for the Ozzy experience, as you call it, and you rightfully corrected me because you're right. Tribute bands, people hear tribute and they go, "Oh, come on, man, it's just a tribute." I tell people, by the way, the tribute is the future. I mean, it's the future. A lot of these bands, Ozzy obviously is one of those guys. They can't perform anymore. They don't sound anything like they used to. And I'm not saying this about Ozzy per se, but you'll go see a band, that's been around maybe a little bit too long, and they're trying, and their singer can't hit any of the notes, and they've dropped everything down like a, half step, full step, and you're sitting there going, all right, I think I want to go home and listen to the album or break out a DVD from, 30 years ago. So, I mean, you guys do a great job, replicating the sound, but this Book of Numbers thing, this is kind of like an extension of all of that music and moving forward. Are you guys planning on doing another album?
We're in the middle of new music right now. We're recording it and look for more of it coming soon. Like the first record, except even better. So, we're going to give people that experience as if those bands had continued on in their prime and did another like classic record. That's our goal.
That's awesome. That's excellent. And are you guys out there on tour with this music, or is it just the Ozzy experience stuff?
Right now, we're taking a little time off to finish our album and to focus on putting some things together for Book of Numbers for our sophomore album. And Brent's right, this next album is going to blow doors on that first one. So if you like that first one, our first installment of this sophomore album it's gonna blow it away. It's off the hook. And we are going back to our traditional recordings of just straight up, just me and a mic, him and a guitar, drums, very little sauce. I mean, it's old school, man.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, you get all your songwriting inspiration from the old days. You try to kind of channel the energy and sort of the thought process that went into those Ozzy songs. Dio is amazing too. We're not talking enough about Dio, because Dio, one of my, again, this isn't the music I listen to all the time, but Ronnie James Dio, probably one of the greatest vocalists, the greatest performers. I was a little ticked off because Dee Snider a few weeks ago said something like, he was an okay front man. I'm a better front man. And then he kind of had to reel it back in. And I'm like, Ronnie James Dio was kind of an okay front man? I mean, come on, dude. So anyway, where do you get all that musical inspiration?
Well, I can reply to Dee Snider. I understand. I mean, if you want to wear women's clothing and go out there and shake your booty and all that kind of shit, then that's great. David Lee Roth did it too, but he sounds like shit on vocals. Ronnie James Dio was not only a classic vocalist, but he went out there and he made it happen like a man. Dee Snider went out and made it look like a girl. So whatever, he can do whatever he wants, whatever floats his boat. But I really don't like that kind of stuff where you get in women's clothing. And that kind of ruined heavy metal. And Dio would be the first one. You could go to YouTube and see some of his interviews. He couldn't really stand a lot of the hair metal because it destroyed what he had a hand in creating, and that was good hard rock. Not so much heavy metal, but hard rock. And that changed over time, but it used to be hard rock. I mean, Rainbow was hard rock. Black Sabbath was hard rock.
Yeah.
They kind of created heavy metal. They say, you know, Ozzy and Tony created heavy metal with Geezer and Bill Ward. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody can go do what they love, and that's their, you know, it's art. You can throw shit on the wall and sell it to somebody. But yeah, that kind of upset me too when hearing just that about Dee. That's sad because Dee's pretty intelligent. I mean, he's an intelligent guy. But yeah, don't slam Dio. He's up in rock and roll heaven, man. But yeah, I get inspiration because I started singing at 5. I play piano pretty well and keyboards and shit. And I just have an ear for music, and I learned how to read when I was young, but that kind of went out the window. I hear stuff and I create it with my voice. And, you know, I use a character voice for when I play Ozzy. I don't really sing that way. But then again, after stepping in Ozzy's shoes, singing his music for 16 years, I have a whole new love for Ozzy Osbourne and his vocals. But there is no better singer than Ronnie James Dio, in my opinion. I love Bruce Dickinson. I love Rob Halford. Those are bars that were set, and it's hard to achieve that. So I don't, you know, with all due respect to Dee Snider, but I really don't hear anything massively amazing in Twisted Sister's vocals other than a bunch of Chain Gang, you know, 3-chord progression, 4/4 time hogwash. So anyways, Ronnie Dio's the shit, man.
Yeah. Well, really well said. I mean, you're coming at this with far more musical knowledge than I have. I just listened to the guy, and I was surprised that he said that. I mean, I can kind of tell who's a good front man and who's not. And, you know, Dio is just such a legend. And
yeah,
sometimes I think what happens after someone dies, everybody kind of, it's Monday morning quarterbacking and this and that. And what do you think about like the Dio hologram? Do you think that's a good idea?
I saw it when it came through Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Tim Ripper Owens is singing, and Oni Logan is singing for him. And Ripper's got a hell of a voice. I got to tell you, man, that dude can just shred it. Our bass player grew up with Tim and was in Tim's band that the movie Rockstar was loosely based on. When they plucked him out of that tribute band, the Priest tribute, and he actually joined Judas Priest, our bass player in Book of Numbers was in Ice to Earth, Winter's Bane, and the Tim Ripper Owens band. But anyways, Dennis Hayes. And I liked it. I was glad to take my wife there because she had never seen Dio. I thought it was cool in kind of a Star Trek way. You know, speaking of that, we need to check with the ship. Brent, can we check with the ship? Hold on a second. Yeah, I need to check with the ship. This is Captain. Yes, Lieutenant O'Hara, please beam me down a 12-pack of Guinness?
Make that 24, please.
24. Okay.
All right.
You ready? All right,
Let's
Captain out.
Any tribbles?
You're in good hands.
You got tribbles. I mean, this is like the best interview I've ever done, other than like Eric Clapton. But this is really good.
Harry Mudd.
You're in good hands with Tribbles.
Oh man, you guys are awesome. So anyway, we'll wrap things up here, guys. So when do you think that album is going to be ready, and when are you guys going back out on the road? You're gonna.
It'll be ready.
Was that on Stun? I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, that'll sterilize you.
It's already happened, guys. I'm sorry.
The album will be ready when it's done. You know, we're not putting a timetable on it. It's about halfway written, and we're just in various processes of recording. But we're not going to rush it. We want to make sure we put out a product that stands the test of time. And then when that happens, we'll be out touring.
Yeah. And as far as the Ozzy experience, when's that going back out there?
June. We're starting to book up June, July, August, and further out. We're going to be taking now until the end of May off, and then we're picking it back up in June. We've been really hitting it hard the past several years. So,
you guys ever go out to Florida?
I've been to Florida.
I meant to tour.
No, not yet, but we would love to come out to Florida. So if anybody's watching, or if you know anybody that wants to bring out an experience and not just a tribute, where you're actually going to leave, you know, feeling like you really saw the Ozman himself, with like the reincarnation of Randy Rhoads, you know, pick us up.
This is fantastic, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys so much coming on. Do you guys have a website? I mean, you gave me one website already, right?
Yeah, the Book of Numbers website is bookofnumbers-music.com.
All right.
Book of Numbers and then the minus dash dot.
And is this thing, can anyone still find this anywhere?
Yeah, you can contact us through Book of Numbers website, and we can sell you one, or they're all over eBay. There's all sorts of you know, like rock stores from Europe, because they're all over Europe. I don't know why they're not shipping them here, but whatever.
Yeah, they did. It just, you know, unfortunately I use Amazon most of the time, and I went over there and I was like, huh, they don't have this, but I found it. I have a lot of people that will, you know, I'll do a video like this and they'll be like, hey, I was really interested in that, but then I tried to purchase one, couldn't get it. So I'm obviously just trying to make sure the artist, you guys get some help, because everybody just streams everything today. It's this world of streaming, and you know, so I'm hoping people will buy some physical products. I mean, you guys should put this on a t-shirt if you haven't already, because that's just fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we had this cool artist over the pond put that together for us, and it was the recreation of like Moses out in the desert. And I got a lot of deep stuff, so when you got more time, we'll talk about all the lyrics and the content of that artwork. You know, you can check right now with the, I'm scanning right now to see where those albums are available. I'm not seeing any Intelligent Life. Are you there?
I'm not in Washington, D.C., so I'm actually where there is Intelligent Life. I'm in Florida, right, guys?
Oh, you're right. It was scanning D.C. No wonder there's no Intelligent Life.
There you go. Book of Numbers, everybody. Kevin, is it Schumacher?
Yes, it is.
And Brent Barker. Thank you so much for being here, guys. You guys are the best interview ever.
Hell yeah.